What's up, guys? I am here with the creator of KWEZI, Loyiso Mkize. Just give me a few seconds to geek out. I'm sorry. I've been a fan since high school.
Take a breath, homie. I understand.
Since
I understand. It's the con. It's getting crazy
school.
like that. No, I got you.
No, I mean,
Much
Super
appreciated,
Strikers.
bro.
Super Strikers.
Yeah.
Disney XD, that Super Striker, this guy. So, I mean...
What's up, KWEZI?
Follow him on Instagram. I'll probably put like the social media handles at the bottom of the video. If you don't know who he is, punch yourself in the face. Anyway, we're here and we got KWEZI going on. You got issue 1 to 12. Congratulations. That's a big deal. I don't even think some American comic books get a 12-run issue.
Come on, man. Like there's something to be said. The fact that we could actually do it here in South Africa and have 12 episodes actually done.
Finally.
And actually have a fan base ready and asking for such material. It's real, man. It's a creator's dream.
Buy the books, guys. I own all 12 issues. Buy the books. They're really good.
Right on. Buy the book.
They're really good. All right, so walk me through the process. Why this? Why KWEZI? Why did you decide to do this?
I mean, if you look around you, even like in a space like this, in a convention as big as this, it draws both the local and international audience right smack bang to South Africa. 4 years ago, this wasn't the case. You know, the industry was small, you know, to say the least, almost didn't exist, and especially with South African or proudly South African content that could stand head and shoulders with the rest, you know, with the Spider-Mans and the Supermans, you know. And earlier, back then, it was necessary to create something of our own. Just as a show and tell, just so when the world comes over to South Africa or the continent, there are stories that already exist that are on par, if not better at sometimes, than what we absorb from the West. It's a dialogue that's been going on for a long time, but you know, fast forward to 2019 and we're here. It's a big deal. It means that KWEZI, as a comic book, as a South African comic book, as a character that looks like us and speaks like us, the fact that exists right now and it's such a received product that people actually seek it out, come to the con specifically to get copies, that speaks, you know, obviously that speaks volumes to creators like myself. And I think they now as a show and tell, there's also a lot of people now, a lot of other artists, other South African artists as well in the SADC region, in here, in this space with their own stories. It shows that the industry is growing and that's exactly what we want, right?
So, do you feel like it's bigger now, the industry in South Africa, or is it still budding? Is it still growing?
I think it would be... Shabbat. I think it would be... it will be a bit too much of a hard knock to say that it's still budding. I think it's now at crawling and walking stages, right? We are finding our feet. We've got something to say and we've got the platforms now, so it's no longer budding, it's here, and it needs creators to be ready, because now, you know, you've got scouts here, you've got people from all over, from DC, Marvel, other artists from DC, Marvel, etc., from France, etc. So like there's the whole world is here to see what we've got. So there's no time to be budding anymore. It's more about like, what have you got, and can we push that forward?
Okay. My next question is, KWEZI suspiciously looks like you. Was that an idea in your head when you were drawing him?
Ironically, I had a chiscop back then when I designed the character, so it's the likeness is more towards my little cousin, my younger cousin. He'll be here as well today. Okay. He served as like the case study for what a South African superhero would be like. So I did a lot of conversating with him to see what he would do with his superpowers, should he, if he ever had any, and then what he would do with them, and also like what his viewpoints or his perception on powers is. Because remember, right? Because like it's like we can call them superheroes and superpowers, but what would we call them here, right? Especially considering our own frame of references, our traditions, our cultures. And they should play a role in that. Our languages should play a role in the comics that we create and the language in which we create them with, you know. So conversation came from him, young dude. He was in matric at the time, and he was like, crazy young man. You know what it is.
Yeah.
A screw for real back then already, 2013. But it was a vibe because like he gave that authenticity, and it's a young urban, young black South African in the urban setting. With his own cultural background to deal with, and the urban and contemporary world to live in as well. So that clash already creates so much fodder for you to delve and then create content out of, because we've never seen superheroes here before. We don't know what it looks like on our terrain. So 2013, we launched 2014, and we've been going strong for 5 years.
I was following the buzz because I heard you were working on a book, and I was like, I have to check this out. I have to know everything that I need to know.
Right.
Funny thing enough, though, you're gonna laugh at this. Well, how is my mom's favorite superhero at the moment?
Right. Okay, cool. I like that because, people latch on to different characters in this story, different archetypes. I mean, obviously he's the wiser, the older, etc. Plus his aesthetic is kind of cool as well, so I kind of understand that bit.
Yeah, my mom is a big fan. What was the inspiration behind him? Because I have to ask.
I can't really. I mean, to be honest, I can't really say it was much going out there for inspiration. I was literally just dipping my hand in the tapestry of our cultures and traditions and just yanking out something and being like, oh well, this would work perfectly. And to us, he becomes the Morpheus in the story, right? He becomes a sensual, wise, and he's a conscience. He's our moral compass. He's a leader. He's a thought leader in the story. He tells KWEZI what the vision actually is and what his duty and destiny is. So it's a nice way of making sure that all of these characters, all of KWEZI's companions, have a role that is very poignant in his growth, and that's what it's predicated on, the story itself.
And I'll say this, I've never seen a horse and a rope be so badass, eh?
Yeah, that's what's up. We got to play with this one. I made it very clear, even with the teams, that first and foremost, we're playing with this thing. It's not, we should never at any point take it too seriously, because that's where you lose the looseness and the vibrancy of it that we enjoyed from the beginning. So it's about keeping it loose and having fun all the time, although we are seasoned in the industry, so our sensibilities to storytelling and creating something that's cohesive and works has obviously been a part of the thinking. However, more than anything, we just have fun with it.
Okay, so my second last question. What was the first comic book you read that got you into making books or wanting to do books and stuff like this? Because I see your stuff on Instagram, you do legitimate, I don't want to say legitimate, I guess, but you do artsy pieces, really thought-provoking pieces. So comic books, what drew you to that? What was the first book
comic
that drew you
books
to that?
came much quicker, much faster to me than actual painting, for instance, which is another one of my professions. So comic books was like a reading medium for a kid who likes to draw for my parents, and my first comic book was probably a Batman. I can't remember which issue and episode it was, because around about a week after, we would share comic books around ourselves as kids at school, right? So I probably lost that book within a week, but that was the first entry point. Then X-Men became a thing for me. I think the array of characters and the variety that you get was a thing for a while. Superman then came, and I mean, look, this is at this point I'm really young, so most of the stuff I was consuming was, if you kind of think about it, maybe X-Men was a lot of that Jim Lee stuff. Jim Lee was a favorite of mine from a very young age, until I graduated much later to illustrators like Frank Whiteley, who was still a favorite for me, including Mobius as well. So you can tell, man, it's you grow with the art form, and then you start to appreciate different things. Your sensibilities change. Myself, at the moment, it's just line work, understanding line work. understanding how to draw something that's captivating. So I lean more to
You
those.
still struggle with that?
Oh yeah.
Jeez, because I couldn't tell. Like,
Oh
everything looks so
yeah. Oh yeah.
expressive
No,
and
no, no. It's a
powerful.
constant struggle. It's a constant growing pattern. Like we're nowhere. I mean, the leaps and bounds from the first episode of KWEZI, even artistically, comparing it to the last one, you can definitely tell the growth. There's a lot more agency over the medium itself and knowing exactly what to do with it. So, and this comes off the back of working for stables like Super Strikers, right? So we were doing comic books for a living, literally 9 to 5 drawing comics. So the discipline that came from that definitely helped with this type of project, because when I had to obviously jump ship from Super Strikers and start my own project like KWEZI, the principles and the discipline of it was important, because now we're creating something for people and there was a growing demand. So apart from having the fun, there's the professionalism that comes with it. Yeah.
So you heard it here first, guys. Even master artists still struggle with line work. You're inspiring me to try and draw now.
Right on, right on, right
All
on.
right, so last question. Are we getting an animated series of this? Ever? Like, you don't have to say a date, you don't have to say when. You know,
Okay,
like,
so
is it in the works?
we're definitely getting an animation out there. It's definitely in the works. It's definitely like the main conversation right now.
You heard it here first, guys. On this channel first.
You definitely heard it here first. There's definitely an animation coming out in production with it. And yeah, that's the natural progression for a product like KWEZI. It's like it cannot stay just as a comic book. It has to filter through other mediums and become, this is our pride and joy as South Africans, right? And as Africans, this is our, this is our household name. This is our Superman. This is our Batman. So the idea here is to push it as far as it can to compete and contend at that level, right? Because we have our stories to tell, and then that's what it is. That's the important thing is our stories being there, head and shoulders with the rest.
Personally, I've been doing Batman and all of that stuff for so long, so this stuff is taking it to a new level. So,
all right,
guys, I'm gonna put all of his media social links in the bottom of the description there. Please go check him out. Please buy the book. Please support the book. And thank you so much for your time, man.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you so much
man.
for your
Much
time.
appreciated.